Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into the video. I just wanted to bring you along with me on a little trip I went on recently. We flew from Dublin to Bucharest in Romania, but we wanted to leave on a Saturday morning, and unfortunately there was no flights available on a Saturday morning for us to go. So we decided to go on a little adventure, and we went with KLM going through Amsterdam. So we'd actually got a text message from KLM the night before we arrived to Dublin airport advising us that we could drop our bags at the check-in desk and get rid of them. And we were delighted with this because it saved having to carry them around the airport. So obviously the first thing we done when we got to the airport, we had to look for the correct drop area. But it was nice and easy. All the information's up on the screens as soon as you walk in the door at Dublin airport. So there was no difficulty. So off we went down to the KLM desk. When we arrived there was a few people, but it didn't take too long, maybe 15, 20 minutes, something like that. I actually love getting rid of my bag at the check-in desk. It's so nice to be able to go around the airport and not have to drag a case with you. So the next stop then for us was security. And again, it looked like there was loads of people there, but in reality only took 15 or 20 minutes. There's me just putting all my clothes back on after a security check, trying to cover up my belly. Clearly eating too many pies there. Once we'd got our things together, we decided that it was time to head for a coffee. Definitely at 4 o'clock in the morning. So our gates on this particular day were down at the 300 gates, which is not my favourite part of Dublin Airport at all. I don't think that there was much down there, much to do. Not like when you're flying with Ryanair or someone. But anyway, we headed down and we decided to go for Butler's Coffee, which is one of our favourites. And obviously then you get a free chocolate too. So there we went down to Butler's to get our coffee for the morning. It was a nice cappuccino for me. Something to wake me up. And it tasted really good as well. Oh, and there's my free chocolates. Handsome man again taking another sip of coffee. Wonderful. So after the coffee, we decided to head down towards our gate. Like I say, this is not one of my favourite parts of the airport. I think it's small, there's not enough seating, and there's not really much to do. But anyway, this was life. So we had to head down anyway. You can see just from the clock here that it's just coming up to 5 o'clock in the morning for us now. So in less than an hour, we've been through security, we've got our coffee, and we're nearly at the gate. So all in all, not a bad experience at all. Just out of pure boredom, I decided to take a walk all around this little block. I think years ago, this is where flights from the US used to depart, and this was where the US pre-clearance was. But that's nothing to do with us today, obviously. We were looking for our gate for our flight to Amsterdam with KLM. So eventually it was time for us to board. There you can see gate 306, but I don't think that was our gate. We were 307, yeah, that's right. So here was the queue to get down, get your passports checked, show your boarding passes, etc. You know, all the usual things you do getting onto a plane. Nothing too exciting or out of the ordinary happened here. But I must say the gate staff were really friendly this morning. It's always such a treat too when you can get an air bridge to the plane. Not like with Ryanair where we have to walk down onto the concrete and get a bus sometimes. Really makes you feel like you're flying in business class or something. So this was my view from the window. Our last goodbye to Dublin airport for a few nights. As we headed off, this was us just pushing back from the stand. You can see the rain on the window now, so we were glad to be in the plane. It was nice and warm, out of the cold. And there was some nice views from the plane window as well. Dublin was still under darkness, so the lights of the city made it actually look quite pretty. There's Bull Island, I think. And then just passing over Howth. Once we got up above the clouds and the sun started to come up, it felt much nicer, but of course, with the clouds we couldn't really see anything. But it wasn't long before we got a little snack, some banana bread and a drink. Any idea what these little cup holders for? So here's me, just trying to kill some time looking out the window. And eventually then we came to the coast of the Netherlands. And this was us just coming in towards Amsterdam airport. When it was time to get off, we were straight into the terminal, and we had around a 2-hour wait for our connection onto Bucharest. So we weren't in too much of a rush as we were walking through the terminal. But oh my, how big is Amsterdam airport? We actually couldn't believe how big it was. It was so much bigger than we remembered. Maybe they've extended, have they? I don't know. This queue here, we initially thought we had to join, and we were really kind of worried because it looked like it was going to take forever to get through. But I think this was just for people outside of the EU, so I think there was a lot of American visitors in this queue to go through passport control. Luckily, we were able to just slip up the side and go through a separate gate for EU passengers. Of course, when you come to the Netherlands, plenty of tulips for sale. This was a cool part of the airport. We got to see some planes at the gates. I stood there for a few minutes just having a good look. It was a really nice day in Amsterdam. So nice, in fact, I thought to myself, I probably deserve a beer. It's been a long day. That was good too. And here was our ride from Amsterdam to Bucharest. A little Embraer. I absolutely love flying on an Embraer. Loads of leg room. Look at that. Now, I'm by no means tall, but it's nice to have all the extra space. So as we were taxiing out to the runway, there was some monsters on the taxiways heading out to take off also. This Delta presumably heading back to the States. Finally we got to the front of the queue and it was time for us to go. Again, we got another snack on this flight, this time because it was lunch. We got a sandwich, and also because it was lunch and I'd already had one, I decided, let's have another beer. I'm sure it'll do no harm. We're on our holidays after all. Finally, it was time for us to start heading into Bucharest. Otopeni airport on the north side of the city. We've been many times before. I always love the view from the window when you're coming in. You can see the city in the distance. This was us getting off the plane. Unfortunately, this time we had to take a bus. But then once we were in the terminal, it was just a short walk. I actually thought we'd have to go through some kind of passport control, but because we'd come from one Schengen country into another Schengen country, we were just able to walk out of the airport. And that was it. We'd arrived in Bucharest. Around 6 or 7 hours after leaving Dublin, we'd finally made it. So thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon.